could be us. So back to what I was saying. Could be us.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Time to Lead by RAL. I'm Abdul Malik Nazahim, and with me today I have.
I'm Ravindra Rachi.
And Laxita Jan.
So guys, how are y'all? How is this period doing? Really good. Did you all go outside as like they have lifted the curfew?
Yeah, actually, they lifted the curfew here in Sri Lanka, so we are allowed to go outside, but we have to be responsible and like keep our social distancing at all the costs and all the time. So, yeah, I'm doing great. How about you, Laxita?
So I'm also like okay. Yeah, it's lifted, and I just went to some shops like supermarkets to buy stuff, but honestly, I still don't feel like the curfew is lifted because you're still not allowed to go really outside and meet people. And yeah, I even went to the beach today, but I was not allowed to go inside the beach. I was like chased off. So yeah, I am still waiting for that day to come.
Yeah, I actually stayed at home like all these days. I'm like focusing on staying safe. So yeah.
All right. So coming into today's episode, today we have a very special guest with us, and from today onwards, we will be talking about leadership. And when we speak about leadership, the first thing that comes into our head is AIESEC. So this personality whom we have today with us is Ms. Kamesha Samaranayake, the local committee president of AIESEC in University of Vijayawardhanapura. So hi, Ms. Kamesha.
Hi, Laxita. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to Time to Lead with RAL.
Yeah, welcome.
How was your day?
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. And first of all, I would like to say thank you for inviting me for this program. And I think it's a very timely initiative as well. And I've been listening to the episodes, and they're fun, and it's nice to listen to them. And it's nice to listen to your voices as well. And yeah, I'm doing good.
Thank you. So, Ms. Kamesha, so we'll start with the first question itself. So this question, it's going to take you back to some of your memory lane. It's about why you joined AIESEC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it does take me back a lot in my memory lane. I think I joined AIESEC in the year 2017, so that's like about 3 years ago. And why I joined AIESEC was a lot of peer pressure, I guess. Like a lot of my friends, they had joined AIESEC already, and I used to hear about this wonderful place where you get to dance and get to do all this cool stuff, basically. And I wanted to be a part of that. And I think one of the main reasons were the jives, to be honest, because I like to dance, and I thought it was the place for me to be. Of course, I had no idea about what AIESEC is about and all this leadership development concepts and all of that. And I think I learned all those things, not learned, to be honest, but I think I got a gist of it from the induction. And I think that's why even today, as the president and any other president, really concentrates on the induction of the members, because that is like the first touch point where they get to have an insight of the organization. And I remember I just sat there as a member, and I was in awe looking at all these people who were taking the front stage and talking so confidently. Like, I know that there are so many clubs that you can master your talking skills and be confident in front of an audience, but this wasn't that exactly. This was a place where like people were confident about what they were doing, and I had never seen that before anywhere else. Like, even if you take school, if you're like even a prefect or something, even in my school, I just hadn't seen even my friends who were prefects, or even myself, even though we held all these leadership positions, I never sort of like, I didn't have that confidence where I would proudly say, yes, I am a leader, and yes, I'm doing these things, and all this confidence I really saw from that induction. And I used to think, wow, how are these guys doing it? And it really inspired me. And those days I was looking at the president and I never imagined I could even get into that place. But it was really inspiring. And I think just seeing them there on the stage, just talking so confidently, that is the reason that I kept on with Isaac, mostly because I wanted to be like them one day.
Mm. Even when you're speaking about this, this reminds me of my first my induction, the first day at Isaac. That was
Yeah, I think
one
it's
of the
pretty
best
much the
days.
same. Yeah, I think it's pretty much the same for everyone. They all go through this experience, and that's the beauty of it.
Indeed.
So Miss Kamesha, like, can you tell us about like your Isaac experience? Like, which function you were in? Like, were you in any back offices? Like, can you tell us a bit more?
Okay, all right. So back in the day, they actually even recruited for back office functions, and I was initially recruited for BD, or like business development, as they say. And I wanted to join a front office function as well, but my vice president actually told me that by staying in a back office, I would be able to concentrate on it more and develop more, because business development, the way we see it, it's a bit of a difficult function to be in. Like, it's difficult to put the focus into functions when considering business development. So he advised me not to go for front office back then. So that's where I initially started. And there was a concept of mentoring back in the day for IGV. So we said the BD mentor, the business development mentor, that person can actually join an IGV project, and or that he or she, that person has the authority to sort of like take care of the project as well, in a way. The TL with the team leader would also be there, and the BD mentor will also be there, just to like make sure that the deliverables are being taken place, and to help with the proposal, to help the team leader. And I sort of found myself somewhat of an IGV member as well, even though I was not in the front office. As the BD mentor, I was a part of that particular project. I was in Inspire team, and I was a BD mentor for that. And I was like a member, actually. Like, I was going for Inspire was about entrepreneurs, interviewing entrepreneurs, and there were around 7 exchange participants, if I am correct. And I had a really fun time with them. I went for the interviews with them. Even though I was the BD mentor, I was a part of the team as well, and that's how I started. And after that, I became a BD. I To the LB, the leadership board, I was selected, and after that, there were a lot of projects that I was looking under me. Sort of like, there were BD mentors for each project, and as the BDTL for value delivery, I had to talk to all these BD mentors and make sure that they are taking care of the projects, not taking care in the sense that they were helping the OCBP ER, or Organizing Committee Vice President for ER, raising money to actually conduct those operations, to give the proposals to companies and make sure that they are giving the deliverables and all of that. And I think that was the time that I really loved in my career as a member of ISEC in JLC, or ISEC in University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, because I like to organize things, and I liked business development as well. It was an inspiring job for me because I got to meet all sorts of personalities contacting all these companies, and I really learned a lot from them. Like, some people were so nice. Even though I was just a student from a university, they would give me so much of respect, and those are lessons that I learned. For example, to treat this with the same respect to the janitor and to the CEO, that sort of thing. And it was a really fun experience. And towards the end of it, I joined Outgoing Global Entrepreneur and Talent as a member, and I was handling the exchange participants, potential EPs, as an EP buddy. And I was also, by the time, like, do you want me to go through all the positions that I've had in AIESEC, or like just a brief summary?
Like the
Because,
memorable experiences that you've had in Isaac, like
oh
the
my God.
experiences that you would say that changed you or developed you. Obviously, like each and every experience would have developed you to another level,
Yes.
but like the memorable ones that you would like
Oh,
probably want to share with others.
oh, I don't know. Like, if you, this is like a question where I can't actually pick one thing. I would say all of it, but I think the time I was an organizing committee president, I suppose, like it was recently after I joined, and the executive board actually put that trust on me to make me the organizing committee president for that, and it was actually something that was not in the normal work that Isaacers do. We had to organize a scavenger hunt, and it was in Colombo. And we had to find teams. It was a public event, sort of, and people had to go here and there and do all these challenges. And we gave gifts at the end of it, and there were chief guests, all of that. And I was the organizing committee president for that, and it was, we had about 1 month to plan everything out, and even the challenges were quite tricky to plan them out in such a short time. And I had a good team for that, and I think that is one memorable experience. But other than that, I think I love what I do right now as the president of Isaac in JLC. I keep saying that, even though I should say Isaac in University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, and also my vice presidency term. But even more than that, I think right now, these few months, 5 6 months, I think, as the president, it has been the most memorable of my career so far.
Okay, moving on. So the next question is, in your opinion, what is the difference between ISEC and other youth-run organizations?
Okay, so I think the answer to this would be quite short. I mean, it's not like, so our vision is, I think it's kind of common for a lot of organizations and clubs that we see in the society right now as well. I mean, everybody wants to do something good to the society, but the way they do it is what makes it different from each other. And Isaac, we promote peace and fulfillment of humankind's vision. And I believe there are so many other organizations as well who try to promote peace. And what we do to promote this is we do exchanges. We believe that by creating cross-cultural exchanges, people would develop leadership in them, and that they would promote peace in the world, and that they would be in peace within themselves as well. And I haven't seen this sort of vision or this sort of implementation initiative in any other organization, and I think that's what makes ISEC different.
Yeah, so talking about exchanges, Miss Kamesha. So maybe like if I'm a person that who is not related to Isaac, I would wonder what exchanges is or what exchanges
Hmm.
are. So as a person, like we all know that you've also been on an exchange. So why don't you like tell us how is an exchange and what is an exchange?
Okay, all right. To put it very briefly, all you have to do is sign up for an opportunity. For an example, you just say, okay, I want to teach English in this school, in this country. And everything else is being done by the organization itself. Like they would connect you to that party in that country, and they would find you accommodation. They would basically give all the facilitations that you would need, and you just have to pack and you just have to get some free time or a vacation, and you can go for that exchange. That's exchange as in you can go to that country and you can deliver or volunteer. You can teach, you can do whatever you signed up for in that particular place, and basically your accommodation, your food, everything is being covered for. And it's, I think, a very valuable opportunity. And personally, I think it changed my life, the way I see things. Everything got changed after I went on that exchange because of the things that happened, I suppose. Like when you're there and you're all alone, you
So
just
where
realize
did you go,
that,
Miss Kamesha?
yeah, I went to Italy, and
Okay.
a small place in, yeah, not small, but it's a suburb, I would say. It's Alba, and that's actually where Nutella is made. So
Okay.
I used to live about like 100 meters away from the factory, and
Okay.
I think
Lucky loves
that
Nutella. Yeah, Lucky.
Yes.
well, yeah, I mean, like, even for breakfast, there's Nutella. It's there everywhere. And even like chocolate, the Ferrero Rocher chocolate, it was like the size of my hand, the palm. It was that huge. They have that sort of chocolate there. And
I'm drooling now.
and that exchange, I guess, more than volunteering, I really experienced the four leadership qualities that they teach about in AIESEC, that they say that an exchange participant would get. Like, for example, I remember I traveled a lot when I was on my exchange. I went to Spain, and I got in a wrong train. And before long, I realized I was in the wrong train. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get out. And I just got out, and I realized that I left my phone inside the train. And that was like my only mode of communication. It had my plane ticket, it had all the contact numbers that I had to contact anybody. And I felt so lost at that time. I was in a foreign country, and I remember my flight was in about 2 to 3 hours from that time. And I think I went through an entire development in that small situation. And I was lucky because, like, I called the security office and they told me that they had collected my phone, but it was a good learning point for me on like how to tackle these situations. And then I went to France, and I don't know if you are familiar with it, but that particular day that I had chosen to go to this country, uh, there were riots taking place. And by the time I got out of the train, there was fire, and like people were running and people were screaming and they were throwing rocks at cars and they were breaking glasses. They were properly rioting and scandalized. It was like, yeah, vandalism. They were ruining the roads. And I tried to go back to the metro, but they had closed the metro as well. It was raining. It was around 6 or 7 in the evening. My phone was dying, and I was just walking in the road without knowing where to go to because all the roads were crowded. And it was blocked. There was police everywhere. They were putting roadblocks. They were checking our passports, and I didn't know where to go to. I didn't know how to find my boarding place. I was scared, yeah, because like people were just, they were going mad around me and hurting others, like destroying the buildings, the cars, everything. Like I just watched cars being burnt into ashes right in front of my eyes. And I remember even that day I went through a lot, and I survived it, of course. I found my way. I got the courage, got the confidence to cut my phone, and I just went. I was on my way to the Eiffel Tower, actually. I was going to meet my friends there. And I just went there. But I remember I was standing all alone at, like, it was raining. I didn't even have an umbrella. And I remember just thinking, wow, how did I get myself in here and all of that. And it's strange. Like every person, well, not that I'm trying to scare you or anything, but I think every person goes through these situations when they go on an exchange, and that's what makes it amazing. Like I had one of my friends who had missed the train, and she had to walk all alone to her boarding place, and even her phone was dying. And she went to a shop nearby and asked them to charge her phone. It's just that when you're coming to these challenges, you just find a way to win that, and that's the learning you get. All these obstacles, you go into this, out of your comfort zone. You go to this scary place and you go to the growth stage. You learn how to overcome it. And that's the beauty of an exchange, I would say. You don't have anybody to ask what to do. You're just stuck there all alone, and it's your brains that you have to use against time, against the weather, against the country you're in, or like the time zone. And you just have to come up with something. And at the end of it, you realize that you have learned a lot. And I remember even the second day I got to Italy, I just wanted to push myself into this out of this comfort zone situation, and I just got a ticket to Pisa and Rome, which was about, I don't know, 1,200 kilometers away from where I was at. And I didn't know how the train system worked. I almost lost the train. And I remember I don't know if you all are scared by hearing these things. I remember I sprained my ankle and I couldn't walk. But like, you get up and you do that thing. And it just, at the end of the day, it really builds up your confidence, and it makes it an amazing experience.
Yeah, Miss Kamesha. So, like, in your opinion, so why do you think when a member joins, why should they like continue being in this organization? What do you think makes them to like love this organization and like continue being a part of this organization?
Okay. Interesting question. So like, it's actually very interesting. Again, I would say, like, I've seen like everyone who actually joins AIESEC, they try to stay there as long as they can, which is actually till they're 30 years old. But like, if they can stay there, they would. And that's something amazing I have seen in this organization. And coming back to like, what are the developments and like what would a member get by continuing in AIESEC? I would say it uh, develops with the time that they're in. Like, it's not just the same job description they have when they're a member, what they have as a team leader, what they have as a vice president, what they have as a president. And all these tenures, it just lasts 1 year, right? So whatever you do, you have 1 year to make it happen. And after that, you progress to another level. It's like doing a game where you progress to level 1, level 2, level 3, so on. And with each level, it just gets even more complicated. There's so many variables adding up, and it tests you in a different way. And this develops everybody so much, and it helps to find a person's true potential by doing these things. And I think it is a great way of giving back as well. Like, from the way I see it, the youth, this age that we are in, it's so appropriate, it's so suitable to make a change in the society. We have the time, we have the strength, we have the power to make our voices be heard. And through AIESEC, we can actually do that. I think that's another reason why people actually continue, because you are just giving back something while you can. And it feels amazing for them as well, because you're helping to develop someone else as a leader while developing yourself. It's like nurturing, it's like a tree or like an ecosystem. And it feels great to be a part of that. I think that's why most of us continue in this organization.
Yeah, we almost like all of us agree to what you've said. Uh, and also like saying that like why would a person continue and going forward, like why, what do you think is the relevance of this organization in the current context? Because like we see there are a lot of issues happening throughout the world, and like even though like we are facing a pandemic right now, there are more
Mhm.
issues rather than the pandemic that the world is facing. And
Exactly.
a lot of issues. So like what do you say is the relevance of this organization in the current context? Like you said that a fulfillment of peace, and also like what is this organization trying to give, the message that it's trying to give to the society, and why is it relevant in the current context?
Okay, I think more than ever today, ISEC is highly relevant because this organization concentrates on developing leadership, and it's something needed very much right now. Even during this pandemic situation, there were people who stepped up and showed others how to tackle the situation, and they created a following that would do the same. And not just with the pandemic, but even with other concerns, we see people stepping up and making sure their voice is heard. For example, people like Greta, who talks about conserving the environment and being sustainable. And even recently, I saw how now companies are coming up with biodegradable methods to, instead of using PET bottles that would like previously pollute the environment. All these are coming true because somebody is making their voice heard, right? And this is like the place it happens, and we this is a place that we can actually make some noise and have people listen to it. And being a youth leader is the best for that. You're young enough, you're spirited, you're sensitized to the environment, you're concerned, then you're the perfect fit. And rather than just looking at something happening and just wishing it was some other way, we develop people who would actually take the leadership, who would actually step up and say, no, this should change, this is what should happen instead. And it creates a ripple effect. It gathers more people around that, and pretty soon there's like a whole bunch of people who are standing up for themselves and who are standing up for others and saying, stop this is how it should happen. And the world actually listens to it. And I think that's why AIESEC is so relevant right now, because we need that leadership. We don't need people who are who do not have that confidence to speak out loud. We need people who are actually willing to take that challenge and speak up, who are leaders, who are not afraid to do anything that scares them. Some people who are willing to go out of their comfort zone and exercise the leadership skills that they have. And to develop these people is what AIESEC does. We are a leadership development platform. We develop youth leaders, and we see them even in examples. There are so many people who have previously been AIESECers, and they are in leading positions in the world. The Prime Minister of Italy, and the former secretary of the I don't remember.
All right.
Former General Secretary of the United Nations, and all these people have been AIESECers, and now they are taking these leadership positions in the world, and they have, and that's simply amazing. And I think there's no more thing to say as to how relevant AIESEC is in the current context than this.
Great. Okay.
In addition to what she said, I think again, AIESEC, the relevance, that is the reason why this whole concept of time to lead with RAL came up. The three of us, it was during this quarantine that we thought of making a podcast and trying to like do something to society and make an impact, and as AIESECers, give something back to the society. So yeah, indeed, it is the most relevant organization at this time, and even in the future, I think it will continue to be. So thank you so much, Miss Kamesha, for coming
Yeah,
here
pleasure
and
is all
sharing your
mine.
thoughts
Thank
with
you.
us.
Yes, thanks for inviting me as well. It was fun.
Mm, so yeah, so we saw Miss Kamesha sharing her experience about AIESEC, about leadership, and through this entire episode of Time to Lead with RAL, we were trying to bring this concept of the clarity of AIESEC, because when we speak about leadership, it's about it's mostly it's about AIESEC, because AIESEC and leadership, it always goes together. So in the future as well, we will be covering a lot of topics and a lot of areas about leadership and AIESEC. So from my side, thank you so much for joining in, and let's meet with another episode of Time to Lead with RAL. Until then, stay tuned.
Stay safe.
Definitely stay blessed, guys.
Could be us. So back to what I was saying. Could be us.